What's going on? Welcome to the Metabolic Momma Secrets podcast number 1. I'm your host, Dylan Conrad. I've been doing this for about 15 years. I have a degree in kinesiology. Been coaching both online and in person. I think that all really is great, but the thing that matters most is our track record. We've taken over 800 moms with young kids through our program successfully. I've taken about 5,000 people through our program completely. And you know, I think what I really want to do in this this series is, this is for you. If you're listening, you're a mom, this is for you. If you want to better your health, if you want to lean out, if you want to have better energy, this is for you. And there's a lot of bullshit out there. A lot of bullshit. And my goal is to bring you both research, scientific research, and field-tested methods, so you can be in the know and you guys can actually apply the stuff on what's working and what's not working. I'm gonna bring clients in, give their testimonials, so you can kind of hear their experience and what worked for them, experts in the fields, all that stuff. But today, what I am gonna show you, and if you see me look this way, I'm looking at my computer if you're watching this on YouTube, because I go off on tangents like real hard. So I have everything organized on my computer screen so I can stay on point for you guys. So moms, I'm gonna teach you guys how to optimize your hormones so that you can break through any dreaded mommy plateaus that you're experiencing and start losing 2-3 pounds of fat per week. And you're gonna do this all without taking alcohol out, without giving up your favorite cheat foods, or having to go to the gym. And I'm gonna show you how to do this in all 28 days. Before I get into that, let me start with a story. So my client, Rosalinda, she came into me. She had done a bunch of different diets, low fat, low carb, basically like you name it, like personal training, group training, everything. And she came in really hesitant, and I totally get that. And she did our program. She you know, the 90-day program. And what we realized real quick was that her hormones and thus her metabolism were both just in the gutter. So we took an approach, this is why we have 90 days, because the first 30 days, and she had perfect adherence. You know, we created a lot of sustainability in her diet model and her training model that made it really easy to adhere to. And 30 days into it, you know, she's busting her butt. You know, she's doing a lot of stuff outside of her comfort zone, and she's not seeing any results. And this is very normal for women going through our program, not to see results, especially right off the bat in like 4 or 6 weeks with perfect adherence. And you know, a lot of it was just mental mindset coaching and keeping her involved. But what happened after 30 days is that we got all the inflammation out of her body. Her metabolism started picking up. It's analogous to this. Like if we were to put she had been putting 87 gas in her tank, right, for years on end. And so the second we took and put a lot of 91 with the foods and the exercise and the stress reduction methods and all that stuff in her system, it still takes a while for the 87 to get completely out of her system, right? So that was what was going on with her body. And so it took her about 4 weeks until all the inflammation was flushed out of her body. Her metabolism started picking up, her hormones got really optimized, and she started losing 2 to 3 pounds of fat per week. You know, obviously this is, you go in for the first 30 days and that's frustrating and something we do give our clients a heads up with. But it is, you know, your future self will thank you for adhering to those first 30 days. So I want to talk to you about why this happens, right? A lot of you listening out there have had kids in the last, you know, or maybe you're expecting to have kids, but you have had kids, you have young kids, and you notice your hormones shifting right after childbirth, right? It takes 6 months for your hormones to go back to normal, and that's going to depend on a lot of different factors too. If they do go back to normal, you know, for my wife, for example, she got right back on birth control. Her doctor put her back on that to regulate her periods and her hormones and all that stuff. And you know, breastfeeding obviously is going to change your hormonal profile. And there's a lot of different changes, right? And there's also a lot of different lifestyle changes that will change your hormones and really crash them, and not a good way. And so there's hormones both that we can't control and that we can control, right? We can't control the factors that are going to be, the lack of sleep we're going to have from our kids staying up all night, or just like the anxiety of just being a mom. There are other factors, depending on where you live, how the pollution is. I'm in Los Angeles. We're like stuck in smog here, so that's obviously going to affect your hormonal profile, what you eat. But there's a lot of different factors that we can't control, right? There are a lot of factors that we can control, and a lot of moms come into me, they're like, I can't lose weight, it's my hormones. I'm like, I totally get that, but there are things that we can do to optimize your hormones. And when we kind of blame it on the hormones, which it is their fault, rightly so, but when we put ourselves in a place of out of control, right? We're not in control, so we're giving power to this thing that we have no control over, or that we think that we don't have no control. It's like, well, why would I do anything? Like, I can't fix that. I can't change that. So why change it, right? Why do anything to change it? Why exercise? Why diet? Why bust my ass when I'm not going to see results because my hormones are the issue? It's like, no, we can actually do things that will optimize your hormones and get them back in control. And that's what I'm going to show you guys today. It's a really simple 4-step method. In the next 28 days, you will go from a place of just, stagnant weight loss or fat loss, feeling probably pretty tired, honestly, and just feeling like you're just not in control of your body anymore. And we're going to put you in a place where you're just in the driver's seat, you're back in control, you're losing 2-3 pounds per week, you're starving all the time, and you're eating a ton of food because your metabolism is going through the roof. And you just feel like, you feel like that 15-year-old girl that was just like eating everything and not gaining weight, right? And so I gave you guys the comparison of putting 87 and 91 in your tank. So the goal is to get the 91 in your tank, and how long that's going to take until that 87 completely cleans out and you can have a fast functioning hormonal profile and metabolism is going to be very dependent on a lot of different factors. And some people it's a lot faster, and some people it's a lot slower. So the 5 ways, and the biggest effect that we have that we can control is the inflammation in our body. Any inflammation in our body is going to cause slowdown of the metabolism. It's going to cause, basically, if your body's inflamed, and obviously there's degrees of inflammation, but if your body's really inflamed, it's going to slow all the physiological processes that are responsible for balancing your hormones and optimizing your metabolism. So what our goal is to get the inflammation out. And how do we do that is basically making these lifestyle modifications that are super, super simple. And there's 4 of them I'm going to take you through. And I'm going to show you how you can actually, because we always hear these, 5 tips to do X, Y, and Z. Maybe we'll do all 5 of them at once, and a week later we're like, oh, fuck it, it didn't work. Or we're just like, oh, that was too hard, I didn't do it. I'm going to show you guys the number 1 method and why most people fail on implementing any lifestyle change, and how you can crush this and make this a permanent lifestyle, just like brushing your teeth. You don't have to think about it. So the number 1 way to do it is to decrease the inflammation, optimize your hormones so you can get on this 2-3 pounds of fat loss per week, is getting on a diet model that is a metabolic, anti-aging. Our food guide is awesome. If you don't have that, whatever you're watching this on or listening this on, go on Instagram and DM me, Dylan A. Conrad, Dylan like Bob Dylan A. Conrad, and I'll get you a free copy. This is what we give our clients. It's like a $250 value. It's yours free, just because I love you. But you want to eat off this anti-inflammatory, anti-aging, metabolic food list. 80% of your food, 80% of your consumption coming from that, 80 to 90. The other 10 to 20%, you want to have dirty cheat meals. I'm talking like wine, cheese, cupcakes. I love cupcakes and donuts. You'll hear me talk about them on this a lot. And you want to include those. And the reason why you want to include, why are you including these inflammatory foods? Because you need to make this sustainable, right? And just eating clean for the rest of your life is not sustainable whatsoever. So when we include these cheat foods and this alcohol 10 to 20% of the time in our model, in our diet model, it's going to allow for 100% adherence. And when I talk about adherence, I'm talking about you doing what you're supposed to onto your nutrition, right? 100% of the time, because 90% adherence doesn't equal 90% results. So if we're sticking to this 80-10 model, 80-20 model for our anti-aging food guide and metabolic food guide, and we're 100% adherent, we're going to see 100% results. If we're 90 or 80% adherent to that model, we are going to see 50% results or even none. So you got to be 100% in. Okay, so that's number one, is eating those foods. Number two is increasing your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That is not just a word I made up. It's NEAT, N-E-A-T abbreviation. But these are this is basically just your daily activity. The number one stressor, you guys as moms have a to-do list that is humongous, and adding any other things to your to-do list, like a structured exercise, that type of thing, it might just be overwhelming for you and be the thing that just like makes you crack and burn out, lose motivation, just fall off completely. So instead, just focus on being more active with your kids, walking around, getting more steps. If you're watching your kid at the playground, for example, like circle around, climb up the jungle gym with them, and just be more active. The more active you are, with this low intensity, you're like, well, I'm not burning enough calories, right? That's like the last thing you need to focus on right now. But when you're more active and you're getting more steps in, and it's just light intensity, it is so good for your cortisol. Cortisol is like the stress hormone that is going to cause your body to hold on to body fat and slow your metabolism down. It's like the last thing you want, but it's the first thing that you get when you're super stressed, you have kids, all that stuff. So increasing our non-exercise activity thermogenesis is going to be a huge way to decrease cortisol and just get more calories out without crushing your hormonal system, right? With like HIIT or like just like hardcore overtraining. So that's number two, is increasing your NEAT. Number three, recovery, okay? Recovery. There is nothing going to be stopping me from stopping you making a to-do list that is going to be super stressful, and like you're going to have all this stuff you're going to want to do, and obviously taking care of your kids and like everything. Nothing is going to stop you from doing that, right? But stress we need in our life. Chronic stress is the issue. So we want recovery methods to take us out of this chronic stress, and so we can just have this acute, quick stress. And so my favorite methods are foam rolling, contrast showers, which is 45 seconds, cold showers, cold as you could take it, 45 seconds as hot as you could take it. You alternate for like 3 to 5 rounds, ending on cold. Cryotherapy, which is like a 3-minute, you just like freeze your tuchus off. Massage, meditation, guided meditation, anything that's going to put you in what we call a parasympathetic, like rest and digest nervous system response, instead of this fight or flight, oh my God, I'm like trying to crush this to-do list and I feel like I'm gonna burn out. That is going to really help our cortisol levels. It's going to really help optimize your hormones, and you're just going to feel a whole lot better. When we have this chronic stress, we just feel burnt out, we feel tired. When we can stop that and have these little areas where we have acute stress in our lives that we're supposed to have, and then we can have the rest and digest, you're going to be functioning a lot better, you're going to have more energy, and the more we stay in this fight or flight, it's like really zapping our energy. So that's number three, is just increase your recovery. Another one of recovery is obviously sleep, but that's something I didn't mention because I don't know where you are with your motherhood. Like, I don't wish the first 3 months on any parent at all, because you just don't sleep and you realize why people get tortured with sleep deprivation. But I didn't say sleep because it's something that you might not be able to get in your schedule. Maybe you can, and maybe you're someone who just doesn't nap. So like, obviously sleep's optimal, and if you can take naps and get a full night's sleep and like change your lifestyle to get that. But if not, because you have kids, like, it is what it is. So that's why I didn't mention sleep. All right, number 4, just like I talked about in number 1, is 100% adherence. And how do we have 100% adherence to our exercise and our diet model? Is we make it something that's sustainable, right? And sustainability to me is something that you feel like you can do right now indefinitely. You're like, I could just keep doing this. Like, this is super easy, right? Something that's enjoyable, something that's realistic for you, and something that feels like you just stick to. And so when you have this 100% adherence, by adding in cheat meals and alcohol and making the workouts something that you enjoy, you're not going to have that 90-80%. You're not going to be like good during the week and fall off during the weekend, which will basically just take you back where you started. And you're going to have sustainable loss. And even like, if your goal is to lose body fat, right? And even if you're losing like 0.25 pounds per week, but you're on something that's super sustainable and you could do for the rest of your life, if you're on 0.25 pounds per week, a pound a month, 3 years, if you have like 150 plus pounds, that's gone, right? And that's staying off because you have the lifestyle and you have the habits because you did this, okay? So that's number 4, is do something that's enjoyable and realistic in terms of your diet and your exercise and your lifestyle modifications, so you can have 100% adherence, because you're gonna hear me say this a million times. 100% adherence is gonna equal 100% results. 90%, 80% adherence is not going to equal 80 or 90% results. It can equal like 50 or nothing. So you got to be 100%, okay? Okay, cool. So I was talking in the beginning. How are you going to do this? And if you took all 4 of these and did them right this week, you'd probably fail. You'd probably fall off. Not because they're hard, but because of research, right? And so you'll hear me talk a lot about research and site research, but there's a study that came out a long time ago. Not a long time ago, probably like 5 or 10 years ago, but they basically took 2 different groups, and they gave a group, they took 3 different groups, and the population size was huge, and this is a very cited research. They had a group they were measuring habit change, so they gave one group 1 habit to focus on. They had the other group focus on 2 habits to change, and the last group they had focus on 3 habits to change at once, right? So 2 and 3 were focusing on changing all those habits at once, and then 1 was just focusing on that first habit. Who do you think had the best success rate? Yeah, number 1, because when we focus on one thing at a time, it makes it just a lot easier, a lot more digestible, and doesn't overwhelm us. So what we can do is we just focus on that one thing at a time. So we would just take number 1 in this example, eating off this metabolic anti-aging food guide for a week. Once we have that with 100% adherence, then we stack the next habit on top of that for the next week, which is increasing your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Once we have that, and we're still doing number 1 here, then we stack the next one, and so on and so forth. And that's why I said 28 days, because I want to give you guys a week. We typically give our clients like 1 to 2 weeks. Get 100% adherent, stack another habit, stack another habit, stack another habit. That way it feels second nature. It doesn't feel like you're jumping all in just to go all out again. So anyways, hope this helped. This is how to optimize your hormones so you can lose 2 to 3 pounds of fat per week. Research-based, field-tested, all that stuff. My name is Dylan Conrad. Thank you for listening to the Metabolic Momma Secrets.